If you've ever wondered if you can get to 10% body fat from doing a very aggressive diet, this video is exactly for you because I just tested it for myself over the last 90 days. I've spent 6 years now coaching people to get under 10% body fat and getting people abs for the first time in their life. I know exactly what to do to get to 10% body fat. The question is now, how can I put it into practice? And could I do it for myself? I've just taken myself on a 90-day journey of going 1,000 calories under my maintenance calories to get in a very, very aggressive deficit. And this is exactly what my start point was. I was around 15 to 20% body fat in this picture. And I'm going to take you through exactly why I did it each and every single month, my thoughts, my feelings, and how I can potentially teach you to do the exact same. So you might be asking, why did I do it? Now, for me, I do think looking great naked and getting to around 10% body fat for a male and 15 to 18% body fat for a female just brings so much more confidence within yourself. And this is exactly what I do for my clients. And for me, I love aggressive dieting. There's a lot of people out there who have this misconception about, oh, you're gonna lose muscle, you're gonna feel like shit. Yes, you're gonna feel like shit, and it will be very, very tough. But going slow and steady, in my experience of coaching people to get lean, isn't as motivating. Now, you can either lose 0.5% of your body weight each week, or you can lose up to 1 to 1.5%. So for example, if you've got a 100 kilo male, they can either be losing 0.5 kilo per week, which just elongates the diet, or you can lose up to 1.5 kilos per week, especially in that first stage. Month one, usually you can go very, very aggressively and it's going to be absolutely fine. And it's exactly what I did. I put myself in a 1,000 calorie deficit. My maintenance is around 3,200 calories per day. So each day I was eating 2,200 calories. I'm going to show you exactly how I spread those calories out across the week, just so you get a good idea of how I specifically did it. So as you can see here, I started off at 87.5 kilos. Now, this is how I designed my week in terms of the calorie intake. I started off a little bit lower than I usually would, just to make sure I can get a high rate of loss. And over the course of the first 2 weeks, I got down to 85 kilos. So a solid drop. Now, across the week, I like to organize my week in a slightly different way. I don't like having the same calories every single day because I want a bit more flexibility across the week. I did a little bit of cardio. My steps are around 10K. I went for Monday through till Friday, 1,800 calories, and then on the weekend I was going for 2,500, and it averages out to around 2,000 calories. As you can see, over the course of the coming weeks, I was losing up to 2% on some weeks, which is around 1.7 kilos, and then as time progressed, it slowed down a little bit. I got injured on some of the weeks here, so I had a couple of weeks where I was just bringing my food intake up to maintenance levels, but then here I went back into the diet, 1.6% loss, another 1%, and then over time I just brought the body weight down and down and down. Now, I'll walk you through the meals that I was actually eating for this aggressive diet strategy. Now, these meals aren't fancy, they're very simple to make, they are macro friendly, and they're just simple. There's no point overcomplicating things when you're doing this hard of a diet. You want to be making as little decisions as possible when dieting. You want to make it as streamlined as you can. This is a staple for me when I'm dieting. Now, a lot of people, some people don't like oats, which I find is a little bit weird, but for oats, for me, they're so fucking filling. This is my evening meal. I have oats with some whey protein powder. I have a little bit of sweetener on top, and then I have quite a lot of frozen berries in as well. Almost like a little bit of a overnight oats type meal. So that is my last meal of the day to keep me really full. That is also the highest calorie meal for me in the day as well. I like to get a little bit snacky. I need a little bit of a sweet treat. And the reason why I have the highest calorie meal later on in the day is because I want to get to sleep. If I don't have a big meal, hearty meal before I go to bed, and I'm hungry, I won't be able to fall asleep as well. And sleep for me, especially when you're doing an aggressive diet, is key. Not only from a standpoint of keeping hunger at bay and cravings at bay, but you simply will not lose as much body fat if you are not sleeping as well as you could be. Now, a lot of people will find this quite weird, but I actually have Greek yogurt twice per day. And you might think, oh, should you not be varying it up? And you can do. I do like to vary up my fruits and my veggies from time to time, but most of the time, I'm having a Greek yogurt in the morning. I fast until about 12. Greek yogurt with some berries in, protein powder again. The second meal a day is around 3 to 4 hours after that. I'm having Greek yogurt again. Why not? I had a little bit of a full fat Greek yogurt in with this 0% fat one. And again, I have a different selection of fruits with it, with some whey protein powder. And you might be thinking, well, you're having whey protein every single meal. Yes, I am. I've found something that really works for me, especially because it's going so aggressive. I just like to keep it consistent, and it's worked for me. It's really easy for me to stick to things is creating as little friction as possible to get stuff done. Now, what I mean by that is I've just got an exercise bike in my house, because if I have to move around and travel to somewhere to get the cardio done, the chances of me actually getting it done become slimmer and slimmer. So I've got an exercise bike at home. I've also got a walking pad at home as well to help me get the steps in. So month one, this is usually the hardest, because weeks 1 or 2, you're just getting into the swing of things. Hunger hits you like a ton of bricks. It is quite challenging. And hunger is one of the biggest reasons why people fail diets and fail to actually get lean. And it's all around the expectation of it. Most people, you're going to go into a diet and expect not to be hungry and expect not to be tired. You need to expect it. It will come sooner rather than later. And especially the bigger the deficit you have, the more the hunger and the tiredness will take precedent. Now, in month 1, you will expect your fitness to improve. When you start a diet, your routine's going to be a lot better. You've got structure there in place. You've got a set target and a goal you're aiming to achieve. You will find you become physically fitter. Training and lifts in the gym actually start to just really progress nicely still. Like, you're not expecting any drops in this first month. My lifts have still carried on going up across that month 1, 2, and even in the later stages of this diet, I was still able to perform. I was still able to progress. And again, it's another misconception people get wrong. Oh, I'm going to lose strength when dieting. No, if you're doing things wrong and you're acting like a tit, you're not eating enough protein, you're dieting far too aggressively, things will definitely go wrong, but not if you do things correctly. I think of it as the honeymoon phase. It's all fresh, it's new and exciting. And because you're losing a lot of weight per week, like in the first initial stages, I was losing up to 1.5 kilos in a week. And to see that on the scale, it really does something for motivation. Usually, motivation isn't a really big focal point for me and my clients. I'm not bothered if you're feeling motivated or not. I'm also bothered about commitment, but from a motivational standpoint, it is pretty cool to see the body weight dropping so rapidly. Now, within month 2 of the diet, I lost already around 5 kilos of body weight. I took it to the extreme. I went hard and fast. And because I did so, month 2 was so much more easier. I was still able to go out for meals. From the calories that I was spread out across the week, I was having those 2 high days, which I've spoke about. That allowed some flexibility to go out with friends and enabled me to actually pull away from being in a very dieted state for all of the week. And I think that's key. You want to find a setup that works for you. That's just a setup that works for me. Super duper low calorie days, Monday through till Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday, I can get a little bit freaky with the food. Biggest thing that started to hit me once I got to a certain body fat percentage is the tiredness. Hunger for me isn't usually a big deal because, again, I've been through diets before. I know what to expect. I know how to manage the hunger and deal with it. But for me, it's the brain fog, it's the tiredness, it's the constant feeling like you've got cinder blocks tied to your leg. Once you get to a certain level of leanness, as you get closer and closer to that 10%, you will start to feel a bit crummy. And again, that's fine. Most people will stop at this stage. And again, it depends on your goals. But if your goal is to get to 10%, expect to feel a little bit naff for a few days across the week. Month 3 starts to get really interesting because as you get closer to that 10% body fat, you'll start to notice some interesting things. Visually, you'll start to see your muscles popping more. The shape of the muscles, the separation between the muscles start to become even more apparent. You'll start to see the bicep and the tricep separation, especially from the side delt and the bicep as well. You'll start to see all of this coming into fruition, which is really cool. And again, even more motivating to keep on going. And then again, hunger stabilized. You're almost used to the hunger because you're in such a stressed out state. Cortisol's really, really high. Your hunger is actually suppressed a little bit from what I found on my own journey. Hunger is okay to manage. It's the energy. It's the fatigue. It's the maybe a little bit of a poor sleep across the week. This is what really gets me personally. And this is where you might start to get the diet face, where your face really sucks in like that. People will make comments. I've had it before where someone asked me, have I been ill? Have you got cancer? That was one of them. That was a really interesting one, the last diet I did. You will start to get to that stage, but for me, that is a really, really good sign that body fat is dropping and you're on track. After 90 days of dieting, I want to get your opinion. Did I get to 10% body fat? Now, you've got to bear in mind, I am fully covered in tattoos, so the level of leanness and definition doesn't come through as much because of that. So I started at around 87 kilos. And now, currently, I'm sat at 76 kilos. It's nothing like a Greek god or an amazing transformation, but it shows you what 90 days of hard work can do. Visually, you can see quite a big visual difference. Now, am I at 10%? Maybe, maybe not. If I was to really take a guesstimate here, I would say I'm still around that 10 to 13% body fat range. Now, the biggest surprise most people don't even realize is that how easy it is to maintain muscle tissue when going aggressive in these diets. I was doing around 5 to 8 average sets per muscle group per week. That's very minimal. Yes, those sets are trained really hard and they were very intense sets, but most people think you have to do a shit ton of work in the gym. You have to train your balls out. And yes, you do, but you don't need to do anywhere near as much as what you might think. Now, you might be asking, would I recommend this to clients? Or you watching this video? 100%. This is exactly what I do with my clients. I like to go super fast and aggressive when it comes to the deficit because there's no time like the present. I really like short, aggressive stints of fat loss that get the job done. Almost thinking of it like a bank robbery. You don't be dilly-dallying in the bank when you're robbing it. You get in, you get out, you do the job, and you get the result that you want. Yes, it's a short-term sacrifice. Yes, it will be tough. There are negatives to going aggressive in diets, but you get there in such a quicker amount of time. Instead of it taking 8 months to get to where you want to be or 12 months, you could potentially do it in half the time. Yes, there will be some restrictions on doing so, but for me, that is just my personal approach and what I personally like to do with clients. 90 days so far. My next goal now is to solidify that 10% body fat range and get even leaner. I've got a photo shoot now within the next 6 weeks and then another photo shoot another 4 weeks after that. The goal for me is to bring it under 10%. So I want you to hit subscribe because in the next 30 days, I'm going to give another update on my own personal journey of how I'm getting to sub 10% body fat for 2 photo shoots. So hit subscribe and I shall see you in the next 7 days.